Hello and welcome back to the show. So I'm super excited to be joined here by my guest today, Robert.Reich, who is a pioneer in the real estate space when it comes to technology. And he's actually the founder of Next Steel, a company that focuses on technology and actually helps real estate agents and title companies, protect their clients, protect themselves as well. So Robert is not just a pioneer when it comes to real estate tech and real estate marketing, but also security, protecting clients, protecting the agents. And he's actually working on some pretty interesting things that we're going to definitely talk about here at the end of the show as well. But Robert, man, I want to welcome you to the show. I'm super excited to have you on to finally get to interview you.
Thanks, Kobe. You too, and I'm very happy to be here. And we've been trying to put this together for a couple of weeks now, and I'm glad that we got mutual times in our schedule so we can do it. So let's do it. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure, man. I know you're a high value guest, so it's worth the wait, in my opinion. But
I'll do my best to live up to that. Hopefully, I can.
Yeah, but cool, man. So before we dig into anything, I'd love for you to be able to kind of introduce yourself a little bit. I know we talked a little bit about kind of, your background in the beginning of the show. But yeah, I mean, if you don't mind just sharing a little bit about who you are, how you got started into, really being, a tech pioneer when it comes to the real estate industry.
Yeah, thank you. So way back in 2001, I started a company in Orlando where I still live, Winter Park, Florida. And that company was very basic, but important in that it scanned documents for businesses of all kinds. So we had law firms and medical offices and others who had tons and tons of paper. And back then, we didn't have scanners in our office, right? So people relied on companies to come and get these banker boxes if they had a lot of them, scan them securely, bring the data and the docs back or shredded docs. And so that's how I got started. And believe it or not, I was playing basketball one day at a facility where I worked out, and I bumped into a buddy of mine named Bill, and I said, "Hey, Bill, what do you do?" And he said, "I'm a title agent." And I was only vaguely aware at that time, a lot of years ago, 2001. You weren't even born then, Kobe. So, I said, "Can I come by your office? I want to talk to you about some technology, and maybe we can help streamline your operation." And he knew me well enough to say, "Okay." And so that was the beginning. I started learning about how the title industry operated. It was kind of a black box, still kind of is to most people. And but it graduated beyond paper. And I found out, Kobe, in some research that I was doing, that two alarming things. As an entrepreneur, they bothered me a lot. Title agents don't get repeat business, and neither do real estate agents. And so I set about to combine scanning, having documents in their digital form, communicating with homeowners post closing, so that we could put everybody back in the ball game with the homeowner when they said they were back in the market, right? So we're not talking about making blind phone calls to homeowners and saying, "Hey, this is Kobe. I helped you get in your house 5 years ago. How's it going?" And if they're late for little league practice and dinner's on the table and somebody's yelling at them to "let's go," they don't want to hear. Kobe, as great of a guy as you are, they don't want to hear from you at that particular time. But imagine if I could email you and say, "Hey, your past client, Joe Blow's likely back in the market. Time to give him a call." And then you call them and you say, "Hey, Joe, how's it going? How's the house?" And they're going to tell you, and I can't tell you how many times I've heard this in the past, "Oh my God, your call's great time. The wife just came downstairs last night and said, I'm pregnant with triplets. We need a bigger house," or whatever. And so we were doing that. We enabled the title agent to let the realtor know when their clients were returning to the market. So that whole stay in touch post closing, so that you knew when they were back in the market. We designed a platform that did that called Digital Docs, and it was extremely popular. And I say was because I actually sold Next Deal some years ago, and I got out of the technology space in real estate. But now I'm back in. I was approached by a company called Voxter. Some friends of mine are high up at Voxter, and they asked me to help them spin out some new technologies to title and real estate this time. And so I'm very excited to be working with them and bringing those listen, they're game changing. I won't get involved in anything that's not game changing. If I can't make you more safe and secure, help you to get more business, help you to be more efficient in your business transaction somehow, some way, then I'm not interested in working with the technology. Can't do that. So we took some of my old technologies, refreshed them, and then so here we go. And got some new ones too.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're always involved in tech, right? So you were involved in tech before tech was cool. It sounds like, back in the early
I
2000s.
was. Yes, I was. And so I'll tell you kind of a quick story. When we were started scanning for Bill's title agency, I asked him, I said, after you close and you record these documents that I now know you need to record, and then you do the policy, the owner's title insurance policy post-closing as well, how do you get those documents to the homeowner? And he said, well, we just mail them. I said, well, how much does that cost? Because it's kind of a thick package of documents. And he said, a couple bucks. And they were doing 200 closings a month. I said, that adds up, doesn't it? And there's you have to stuff the envelope, stamp the envelope, there's a people time. He said, yeah, it's expensive. It's cumbersome. I wish there was another way to do it. I said, I got a great idea. Why don't I take those documents from your file scan, drop those documents only onto a CD, and we'll mail it. I was a genius in 2001. It seems kind of stupid now because duh, but yeah, we were, me and my team, we were the first ones to start doing that way back then. And then we started adding other technologies to it, but we were helping, the word got around that we could help title agents be more efficient, save time, save money, and get repeat business. And so then I counseled title agents to go out and say to realtors just like you, hey, Kobe, here's why you should use my title agency. We now have technology that alerts you when your clients are back in the market before anybody else knows. Send me all of your business immediately and it'll happen automatically. And that was very successful. I have to say, quite proud of that. And then we had another technology that has now been refreshed into 2024. It was called Predocs, which was a smart portal for onboarding buyers and sellers for the title agent. And so we streamlined that process as well. As soon as they opened up escrow, got the contract in, they kicked in Predocs, they initialized it, it would go out to the homeowner and onboard them with important questions, signatures on pre-closing documents, and the like, and it all came back into their title software. So again, we've refreshed that into a product called Voxer Verify, which I'm very, very proud of how these guys have done it. It's super good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, so you've been involved, right? Like we talked a little bit here about, technology being really first to market with a lot of this, tech, even back in the early 2000s, right?
Mhm.
It's important to be first to market because, now you were just saying, looking back, right? It's, obvious, but when you first came up with it, you guys were the only people doing it. So it was, it
Right.
created a huge advantage. And that's what I kind of
Was.
wanted to talk with you here now is, with a lot of this new tech coming into the space, right? Coming into not just real estate industry, but just into our daily lives, especially
Mhm.
with artificial intelligence and AI. If
Mhm.
you were, I guess, starting over and you were in this position, if you were a real estate agent, what are some things that you would be taking advantage of? Because there's a lot of agents who are afraid of it, who don't know how to use it. But as we all know, with tech, you have to embrace it in order to get the most out of it.
Yeah, so let's just put on the table right now, AI is not going to get the launch codes. This is not Terminator or the Matrix. There have been people trying to in other countries trying to get our launch codes, maybe some of this country, trying to get our launch codes and penetrate defenses for a long time. It's never happened in a significant way. It will. I don't believe it will ever happen. And the experts, even though they're safeguarding their AI, Sam Altman talks about safeguarding his AI. Honestly, I think he says a lot of that not because it's necessary, but to just quell the fears of people. But better safe than sorry. So, I have no problems with that. But I would say what I did was extremely helpful and streamlined the process of learning, of ramping up with AI, is I took classes. There is an institute called the Marketing AI Institute, which I wholeheartedly recommend. I have nothing to do with them other than being a student. And they will teach you the basics. They will then take you along and make it more sophisticated in terms of your learning as you go. And they'll tell you things like what's the difference between Chat GPT and Perplexity and Synthesia and these other AIs that are out there. But for the most part, there's large language models, kind of that AI that can answer questions about, well, in ChatGPT's case, anything, I think. And there are other ones that are more targeted for specific use cases. And there's a place for both, but it's overwhelming. There are hundreds and hundreds out there. And if you don't know anything about it, if you're anybody and you don't know anything about AI really yet, where do you start? And the answer has to be, jump online with a class. There's plenty of recorded classes. You can go at your own speed at the Marketing AI Institute, or get on YouTube or Udemy or some of these other places and just take a class. And then you kind of pick your spot, right? Because there's still a lot of choices. So pick your spot, use one, find something that will help you to be more efficient and more effective. So should I tell you about my Chat GPT? Let me do that. So I do a lot of writing, Kobe. I blog, I post, I have a newsletter, and we should talk about LinkedIn here in a minute. I have a couple newsletters, and so I have a newsletter. Let me tell you where I think, before I go to Chat GPT, where anybody could use this newsletter called Rasa, RAS as in Sam A.io. It's an AI newsletter. So I use it because I have thousands of realtors and title agents in my database. I didn't want to send a one size fits all newsletter out. So what Rasa does is it uses AI to curate articles in real estate and technology. For in my case, you can tell it whatever you want, and it serves up these articles to you, Kobe, for what you want to read. So it learns what you click on and what you're interested in. And I can then, in time, I've only been using it about a month now or so, but in time, let's say in about 90 days, it'll learn about each one of my subscribers and serve up 1,000 different versions of the newsletter to 1,000 different people. They get exactly what they want, with my picture and my contact information on it as being the person that's bringing it to them. Super cool. And because I don't want to waste people's time. I want to give you, if you want to learn more about AI, the newsletter will serve up AI. If you want to learn about AI in real estate, it'll serve up AI in real estate. So, and if it's something else, then great. If it's not AI, it'll curate what you need. So it's really good. All right, Chat GPT. Chat GPT 4 Omni, which is the number 4 Omni, which is the latest version out, is beyond spectacular. I use it to help me with writing. So a lot of days I'll get up and I'm going to do some writing and I just have writer's block. I'm not really sure what I want to write about, especially with how fast paced life moves for us. The economy changes, interest rates up and down, which means mortgage rates. We've got the commission issue going on with NAR and realtors. We've got so many things. And Chat GPT can grind through all this data and absorb it much faster than a human can. So I asked Chat GPT some days, what would you write about today? What article would you write today for realtors based on what's going on with interest rates, the monetary supply, and the Israeli-Palestine war, something like that. And it'll come up with some decent articles to write to topics. And then from there, then I'll start, if one catches my eye, I'll start writing. If it means something to me, I'll start writing about it. And I might send the article back to ChatGPT and say, what am I missing? And so ChatGPT is my sidekick. It doesn't write for me. It is my assistant. And I will prompt it when I need help. And when I don't need help, I do the work. I want my voice to be present. Always want my voice to be present. I don't want you to think that I'm just scraping in some stuff from an AI and throwing it over the fence. That's not what I do. I don't recommend that, but it sure can help you to come up with some really cool topics, fine tune your article, maybe suggest what else you could write beyond that on tomorrow or the next day. It's super helpful for that. So that's one of the places I use it.
Wow, that's really awesome. So, you mentioned that the newsletter tool that you're using. So
Yeah,
that one, I don't think anybody knows too much about that, right? Because when you hear about AI, it's ChatGPT, and then
yeah.
all the other tools are like second tier tools almost in people's minds. But the customization aspect of AI, I think is so important and so powerful, because now what you can do is you can tailor the messaging, right, to what people's preferences are. So is that, what you see as far as the evolution of AI? Is that going to be, would you say that would be the most important, aspect of it when it comes to real estate agent marketing? Because again, I think agents, they're looking for ways to leverage AI for really to generate more business, more leads, right? It's easy to, you know, use AI to automate a task here and there, but if they can generate more leads, more business with it, then that's really where, the people are ramping up on learning more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're a real estate agent, you want to maybe create a Reza.io newsletter you might consider for your homeowner database, right? So you could serve up an individual newsletter to each one of your homeowners, right? Based on what their likes and dislikes are, based on their activity in the system. So you might send for about a month a broad scope of articles, some maybe homeowner technology, excuse me, I'll say home technology. There's a lot of that going on. Some, with what the real estate market is doing, maybe a third and a fourth silo of topics or subjects. And then the AI will watch what you read, Kobe, as a homeowner. If I'm sending it to you as a homeowner, it'll watch what you click on, how long you stay there, some other data. It's not creepy. It's just picking up what your interests are. And then it'll start to fine tune it. It'll say, well, if I serve up another article over here that apparently you're interested in, do you click on it more? And if the answer is yes, it'll serve more and more, and it'll fine tune it to who you are. So that's been the problem with realtor marketing in the past, is it's blasting out stuff that nobody cares about. And that's the worst thing. An email that says, hey, Kobe, remember to turn your clock forward on Saturday night. Or, hey, Kobe, happy anniversary on the purchase of your home. Or, hey, Kobe, happy birthday. And, it's okay for a little bit, but is that going to create or continue to foster the relationship between you and I uh, when you come back on the market 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years later? I don't think so. So having targeted information, and that's what Digital Docs did, is we were sending out emails to people and telling them things about their home, what their mortgage balance was, what their home was worth, how their interest rate compared to the market, other things, what homes sold down the street. And so and all those emails were branded and co-branded with the real estate agent and the title agent. You can start doing the same thing now with a Raise newsletter. It won't be as quite as targeted as mortgage balances, of course. It doesn't do that, but it's things that are interesting to you. If you're in the if you're an attorney, it might serve up some legal stuff to you and see what happens as time goes on, and it'll learn your preferences.
Wow. So that's super powerful, man. That's, you're absolutely right. So a lot of the marketing and messaging agents post on social media, their email newsletters is very, for lack of a better
Generic.
word, yeah, generic
Yeah.
vanilla.
Yeah.
I was going to say
Yeah. Yeah.
vanilla.
Exactly. Yep. You got it.
Yeah. So if you're going
Exactly.
to do
So
like,
in 2024 and going forward, we don't want that, right? We don't have time to waste. Even if you're single, you don't want to waste time. But if you're a family man or woman, holy cow! I mean, it's crazy how demanding things are and how fast paced things are. So you don't want to get in the way of someone's life. You want to enhance someone's life, and if you can do that and give them just a little bit of information that they value here and there, they'll stay with you for life. You don't have to worry about, well, what real estate agents have always worried about is that another agent steals you away from me when you come back on the market. I don't want, I can't tell you how many times agents that I've met called back to all their past clients to renew their relationship, and a bunch of them had already moved, and they said, it's too late.
yeah, exactly. So that's very well said. You mentioned LinkedIn a little bit earlier, and I would love to
Mhm.
kind of get your take on this as well, because I do know that is something that you've talked about in the past as well, as
Yeah.
far as what you've done. So, how are agents, that you've seen, or what is your take on this as far as generating leads, generating more clients on LinkedIn, and is there some type of AI integration, AI, combination to make it
Mhm.
even more powerful than the traditional manual way to do things?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's define what LinkedIn is, has been, and always is. And it is the meeting place for business people. It's not Facebook. It's certainly not Instagram. And it's a waste of time if you're posting pictures of you at the beach like you would on Facebook or Instagram, and you're doing that on LinkedIn. Now, people don't do that too much anymore, but it certainly isn't appropriate to do that. LinkedIn is so if I jumped in to the real estate space as a realtor, as a real estate agent, I don't know that I would do too much on Facebook and Instagram. I would really focus my time on LinkedIn because that's where the people are that you want to meet. Why? The average income of a LinkedIn subscriber is into the six figures. It's way over 100 grand. And most business people have a profile on LinkedIn. Now, whether they're using it right or not, it's another thing. But that's where, if you want to go hunting for whales, go where the whales are, and not where they're not. So I say that's number one. I think in 2024 you need to focus on that. So you can in LinkedIn target the people that you want to meet. So let's just say I'm a realtor in Orlando and I want to meet people in Orlando who would have no problems spending money to buy a home in this environment, even with higher interest rates. I might target CEOs and CIOs and see any of the C-suite people. And I might look for people who have been in their job, which you can do on LinkedIn, for longer than 5, 6, or 7 years. I might target some folks who are getting a promotion. I might target people who are moving when they get different jobs. So there's a part of LinkedIn I really like called Sales Navigator, which is their super search platform. It costs a little bit more to use, and it's non-expensive. I can't remember the exact number, so I won't quote it, but you can look it up. And I can target very specific groups of people within geographic areas, demographically, and start to connect with them as their lives are changing. It'll tell me that. In fact, there is a leads version. There is a not version, but there is a leads feature in Sales Navigator that pings me when you make a career change or something else happens. I'll know. It'll like to say, Kobe is moving. Kobe got a new job. Kobe got an award, and because he sold 4,000 homes last year or whatever. So it's a great tool to find the people that you want. Now, what do you do with them? Well, when you do find people that you want to connect to, so you can connect manually or you can do it the better way. There are bots out there that will help you to automatically connect with people who come up as your targets. So the bot will reach out to you with a message that I give it. So I might write a message for the bot to use many, many, many times. It says, "Hey, Kobe, from me to you, I would say, I think I do say, there's a lot going on in real estate right now. I'm plugged into technology and other things. I will message you or post from time to time, not all the time. I'm not going to wear myself out on your front door, but from time to time, I'll post and let you know the important things that's going on. Let's connect." So I grew my next deal connection base from about 400 or 500 or 600 when I first engaged with the bot to almost 10,000. Now you can only go so fast. Like LinkedIn doesn't want you spamming a bunch of people. So it's only at the rate of I think you start out around 50 or 60 a day. You might be able to graduate and move it up to maybe 100 or so connection requests a day. I don't know the latest numbers. The bot handles that for me, but the bot is working 24/7. When it reaches the maximum, it goes to sleep. It wakes up tomorrow. I don't have to tell it to wake up, and it goes to work. But I'm careful not to spam people, and that's important. What makes it spammy? If I say, "Hey, Kobe, I can help you solve this problem. Here's a product. It costs $9.99 or whatever it is." If I'm trying to sell you, as Gary Vaynerchuk says, don't sell on the first move, right? That's the worst thing you can do. I want to earn my value to you by giving you information that you want and you need. And if I can do that, then at some point, maybe you'll reach out to me for business and you'll say, "Hey, I'd like to know more about what you do." When that happens, that's the best prospective customer you could ever have. And LinkedIn can help you to do that in spades. You also want to post. Now, there's a new feature in LinkedIn called the newsletter. And they have their own version of newsletter. Now, it's not curated content the way Raise It, it's different. You actually write a blog, a post, which ChatGPT or other AIs can help you to write that. and you post that into the newsletter, and then that newsletter goes out to all your connections when you're ready. Now, here's the cool part. It doesn't just go to their LinkedIn account. It also goes to their email of record on the system. So while I don't have your email, it delivers that for me. And so I've named the name of my newsletter is called You Heard Me, which was the name I used for my podcast that I used to have. I may resurrect that. And so you'll get a You Heard Me newsletter about once a month from me. I used to do it once a week, but I backed it down to once a month because I've got so many newsletters going out now. And you can have multiple newsletters. It's a really good feature, and it will help you to grow your subscriber base and your contacts. So there's a gal by the name of Shani Murray who does a really good job of that. I think she's got maybe millions, more than 1 million people, hundreds of thousands anyway, and she grew not all of it, but a lot of it using the newsletter feature. It's really cool, and it can help you to establish yourself on LinkedIn, which is what you want to do.
Yeah, those newsletters are I get them every week from quite a bit of connections as well, and
Good,
yeah, absolutely
good.
they land in your inbox and they land in your LinkedIn. You get a notification on your phone on that as well if you have the app. So it's definitely a great way for people to keep in contact with their connections, right? So you
I'm
want to take advantage of that.
I'm smiling because I have to be honest and say I steal. It's public knowledge, but I steal some of my Raisin articles and I put them in, put links to them in my newsletter. So just to make it more valuable to you. So when I say steal, it's not, but it's anytime the more value you can bring in terms of actionable information that can help you as a human being, as a business person, as a homeowner, as a family man, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You're going to win, and I'm going to bring you so much value that you feel like you have to reach out to me at some point.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the keystone of a successful business, right? You bring people value, and then they see that value, and then they go back to you for more value,
Mhm.
in the future as well. Which brings us to really what I wanted to kind of wrap up this podcast with you here today, which is love to learn a little bit more about what you are doing, right? So you've always been in more or less kind of like the security side of technology. You've helped people protect themselves. You've helped people able to generate more clients, agents and title companies working together. And I think, what you're currently going to be working on now and some of the projects are a combination of all of these things, right? So I would love for you to be able to share a little bit of that with the audience today, because it's not a topic that gets talked about quite a bit in the real estate industry, which is protecting yourself and also protecting your clients to make sure that everybody goes through with this transaction smoothly and have no issues or lawsuits happening or even personal injuries, which is kind of on the worst side of that. So
Yeah, unfortunately, there have been realtors who have been attacked by people claiming to be a seller or buyer, and hurt. In one case, I think even killed, some years ago. I don't remember the details of it, but I do know there's been some bad stuff that's come on. That's very, very unfortunate. So let's start at a high level and just say that seller fraud, impersonations, and deed fraud are rampant. I think deed fraud has grown something like 6,000% since 2011. These things are today what identification fraud, using the social security to take out credit cards and do other bad things. What that was 10, 12, 15 years ago, that's where we are today with seller and deed fraud. So deed fraud, anybody can walk in, as you know, into the county recorder's office and record a quitclaim deed. The county is under no obligation to vet the person or the document. Now, some counties are starting to get a little bit proactive with this, but they've got a long way to go. So this problem is going to persist. And if I can record a quitclaim deed on your property, then I can refi it and get money out. I can sell it. And if the title agent doesn't catch it, then you're going to be out a lot of money or your home. And there are too many stories that I've heard personally about people throwing the keys back to the lender and saying, there's no way for me to get out of it. There's no way to unring that bell today. There's no legal process that you can go through that will end up well, and that isn't super expensive. So throwing the keys back to the lender is unfortunately an option. Well, we have created a technology that locks down the ownership of a home, the title ownership, much in the way you can lock down your credit. So there are, we're the only ones doing this. And so there are some services out there that are good who will report on the status of your home ownership based on recordings every maybe 30 days or so. Those systems are good for reporting, but unfortunately, if they report every month, then anywhere between 1 and 28 or 9 or 30 days ago, something could have happened. Somebody could have recorded that quitclaim deed, had taken, had in the process of transacting, or maybe even refi. So we stop that with our patent pending system. We do also report, but we lock it down. And so I won't go into details on your podcast about it, but it is tremendous technology. I think if I was in your shoes, Covey, I would spend a little bit of money, and it's not expensive, a couple $100, and I'd buy it for every one of my clients as we close, and take a little bit of my commission. Now, I'll sweeten the pot though. When we send out an email to a homeowner saying you're good every 30 days, it's working, it's still locked down, you still own the property, everything is working as it should, that will have all of your contact information on it as a sponsor. So we keep you in front of that homeowner while they're living in the home. And then if the homeowner decides to unlock their title because they want to refi or they want to sell, we notify you again. And so you know what's going on with your client. So it's a great gift. And if you don't want to give it, it's not expensive. They can get into the product and use it. And so when we give my contact information, I'll tell you how you can reach out to me and I'll talk about that. So let's talk about identity fraud, impersonation, seller impersonation, maybe buyer impersonation. So there are some systems out there that that will look at the person, pull some data up on the person, and try to determine if they are who they say they are. We have our technology does 3D biometric identification of the individual. So here's what I would do if I was going on a first meeting with you. You want to list your home as a seller, or I'm going to go show you some homes. I want to know who you are. I want to make sure that I'm going to be safe. I send you a QR code. The QR code pops the app up. You take a front and back picture of your driver's license. That's not anything new. There's lots of systems that do that. But then it tells you to lift the phone up to your face for a special kind of selfie that maps your face. You don't have to do this the way Apple makes you do it. You just look at it. It does a 3D map of your face, compares that image to the image on your driver's license. Then it pulls the legal data that we have access to from your phone, and we look at who owns the phone. Does it match up to the driver's license? There's other data. I could put the phone in a geofence and know when it leaves there, if you're doing some work for me, all kinds of really cool stuff. Bottom line is, this is Israeli created technology, and the Israelis are incredible with security. They're not the only ones, but they're very good at it. That is, works quickly, takes a few seconds, is cheap. So you can verify, you or your title agent can verify. And what we're doing is we're plugging this security technology in the front end of all of our technologies that we offer. So Equity Protect that I was just talking about has it. We have another program called Voxer Verify, which is a smart portal for title agents onboarding homeowners. It has it. So we are putting our foot in the ground, and we're saying we're going to help the industry stop seller fraud and deed fraud before it happens. And that we're not going to do it when it's too late. We're going to do it, before somebody tries to affect something. And that's really the key. So we can help realtors stay safe. We can help title agents stay safe. We can help closers stay safe, remote notaries stay safe. And so we're going to be working hard to bring this technology to the industry.
That's awesome. There's not a lot of people doing that out there, and really, this is a really important part, because I've personally, I have a team of agents, and they're pretty spread out across the country. I've heard a couple stories already of some close calls. So this is a
Yep.
true I guess work hazard for real estate agents, and you guys are doing that to essentially enhance their security and protect real estate agents as well. Protect sellers as well and buyers when it comes to that side of the business. So I think that's actually really interesting. really interesting product that you're launching out because again, like we talked about before, you started sharing this technology. It's a combination, right? You're protecting people, you're protecting making sure there's not seller fraud going on, but also you're helping the real estate agent to market themselves and actually capture the data of whenever that seller is then ready to, yeah, homeowner is ready to sell again. So that way you get notified and you can reach back out. So that's it's really impressive what you guys are doing. So for anybody who is out there who is watching or listening to this that want to reach out to you, that want to learn more about this, that want to take advantage of this, and maybe give that as a closing gift to their clients, what are some of the best places people can reach out to you, can follow you, and just really learn more about maybe subscribe to your newsletters, right? Learn more about what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. So LinkedIn, I would be remiss if I didn't start out with LinkedIn after all the props I just gave it. So I am Robert. It's either Robert Reich or Robert L. Reich. Robert L. Reich on LinkedIn. You can search it and find me. I'm in Winter Park, Florida. I'm representing Voxter. It'll come up. Reich is my last name. My Voxter email is Robert.Reich, Reich, at Voxter. Let me spell that. V as in Victor, OX, T as in Tom, UR.com. It's the name of it, it's called Voxter Analytics, but just Voxter.com. So shoot me an email if you have a question. You want a little, I don't charge for LinkedIn coaching. I can certainly help you a little bit with LinkedIn and get going. And if you're interested in the security product, the biometric security product, or in the Equity Protect product, just shoot me an email and we'll connect. But let's definitely connect online on LinkedIn because you'll get my newsletters. I'll get your newsletters. I'll get to see what you're doing, and it'll be really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. We'll make sure to leave the links to those in the description and the show notes down below so that way
Mhm.
people can actually find them. But other than that, man, Robert, thank you again for being on the show and sharing your knowledge with us here today. Before we let you go, is there any last pieces of advice, any last tips you would like to leave with our audience before we let you sign off?
Yeah, gosh, there's so many cool things I could say. I'll give your audience a piece of advice that I got early on in my career before I even started in on the technology side. I met with a very successful businessman, and I asked him. I was a 20-something. I said, "Give me one piece of advice that if I follow, it's gonna be a no-brainer for me to be a success." What's the one thing he said? Man, it's simple. Go to lunch at least once a week, if not more, with an advisor to people, someone who is a consultant, who has valuable knowledge and information, and let them know what you do and don't do a one and done. Stay in touch with that person. Learn what their potential new clients look like. Bring them business. Bring value to that person. So what are those people? It could be a CPA. It could be an estate planning attorney or a trust officer. I'll tell you a quick story. I was doing business with some trust departments as a 26 or 7-year-old, and one of these trust departments brought me a huge deal when I was 27 years old, 1991 or 92, long time ago. I closed a deal where we did a tremendous service for this person that needed a lot of help. Collectively, we all did it, but by part of it yielded a $180,000 commission check to me when I was 27 in 1992. So I don't know what that's worth today, but just going and spending time with people of authority in business has always been such a big deal.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I really appreciate that. That was some
Thank
great
you.
advice. And Robert, thank you again for being on the show. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you on the next show. Take care.